I got an idea.
To some extent.
So I think we've talked a lot about the things we don't like, a lot of the problems. Give me your guys' vision of what America should be.
Well, look, I mean, what America should be is it should be the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. I mean, that as a starting point, like that's what we should have in this country. We should, like, it didn't have to be this way. Okay, there was nothing that was like written in the stars that everything had to go this way. And I'm not saying it has to be my utopia, that I want it to be this perfect, libertarian anarchist system. Sure, that would be best, but I'm just saying we didn't have to respond to 9/11 by starting 7 stupid wars and killing all of these people and passing the Patriot Act and all of this. We could have just, let's say, even went into Afghanistan and killed Osama bin Laden in Tora Bora when we had him cornered and came home. The war on terrorism was over by Christmas of 2001. We could have just not had artificially low interest rates in the early 2000s and blew up this housing bubble and had the financial crisis in 2008. We could have just not responded to COVID in an insane way. We could have just had a government who came out and went, there's this upper respiratory virus. We think if you're at risk, you should probably stay home. That's our advice to you. Everyone else, be careful. Maybe wash your hands. If you feel sick, stay home. We could have not tanked the entire economy and printed $6 trillion in a year and destroyed everything. So all I'm saying is like less of the evil stuff. We could do a lot less of this. It doesn't have to be, it's not a choice between what we have now and perfection. It's that we should always have liberty as like the guiding principle and being very skeptical of what the government does. That's what we need.
That, and all of that comes down to is just scaling back. I don't need more legislation to do that. Again, if we start from that Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and letting that be, okay, this is the litmus test. Is this, hey, if we're giving more and more government, more and more dollars, more and more power, more and more control, 80,000 more IRS agents, how does this get us back to more liberty? If it's a very basic question, it's a very basic answer. Nah, I'm not doing it. Tell me where it says in this that we should be giving this over there. If that's not the answer, then no, we're not doing it.
I completely agree, and I would just add to that like the mission here to me really is that, look, I mean, think about like how the massive propaganda campaign to push the COVID lockdowns, the massive propaganda campaign to push the vaccines, where it's like you have to hear about this constantly, completely oversold of like, if you get this, you can't possibly get COVID and you can't spread it. And if you question this, you're an anti-vaxxer and all of this. They use these massive propaganda campaigns because they know how important it is to have the population believing that they have legitimate authority over them and believing that they're doing the right thing. So I think the mission here is to counter the propaganda and to wake people up. Like you said, the mission isn't to take over the federal government and then, wield power over all of the people and do it in the right way. The mission here is to wake people up, to realize that what we ought to be striving for is to be very skeptical of all of these authoritarians who promise us that they're doing it for our own good. If we had a society like that, we'd be in much better shape.